All right, what are we doing today? We are making Chinese style Russian stew. I actually don't know what makes a stew Russian. I think it's the tomato, but we're totally cheating. We're going the Midwest route of using canned tomato, canned Campbell's tomato soup here. And what's Chinese style? I don't know why it's also Chinese style Russian stew, but it is what it is. But what do you got? You got beef shanks, got about a pound of beef shank, two russet potatoes, one carrot, broccoli, which is not a normal ingredient, but it's actually pretty freaking great. So like if you like broccoli cheese soup, you'll like broccoli in this. One onion, canned tomatoes, or condensed tomato soup. This is our cheat ingredient to make things go faster. So what are you doing? First, actually, you know what? First, we're going to take our pan and we're going to preheat, medium heat, and we just let it sit for a while. Then we'll go over there. And then we're going to season our meat. We're going to first rub some oil just on one side. You don't have to rub it on both sides. It's a stew. It's not like a steak. We're not doing anything fancy here. We're just gonna rub some oil on it. I'm gonna liberally season some salt. And we're not adding any other salt through this because there's already salt added to the meat, and there's already plenty of salt in the soup. So not adding any other different salt through the entire process. We're gonna let that sit. Pan is preheating up. This is going, and then we're going to prepare veggies. So what are we gonna do? So usually you want this to the salt to sit for 15-20 minutes anyway, right? So might as well do this before you start chopping everything else up. Let me clear some space out of here. Sorry about that. All right, how are we going to chop this carrot up? One way to chop it, I actually don't know. There's a French term. Pretty sure there's a French term for it, but essentially it's like we're going to cut this at an angle. We're going to take the, seeing this? There we go. I take this and go at about a 45-degree angle and then chop it, right? And I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to chop it again and chop again. Oh, there we go. And so the reason why we're doing it this way is because we're actually able to cut kind of pretty uniform cuts throughout the entire carrot. And also because we got these sharp angles here, more of this carrot is going to kind of dissolve into the soup and thicken up the soup a little bit with carroty goodness. What are you looking for?
A paring or butter knife.
A butter knife.
Or a paring knife.
Paring knife. Here's a paring knife. There you go. Alright. And then, so yeah, even with the we're getting to the thick part, but we're still cutting pieces that are about the same size, right? So just That's the same size. There you go. Got a bunch of carrots. I mean, we're not doing anything fancy here. It's nothing like. It's just so that they all kind of cook in a uniform way. And yeah. Okay, there we go. Vegetable soup. We're doing Russian stew with beef shanks. So yeah, with carrots, potatoes, broccoli, onion, and sweetened the condensed tomato soup. So I grew up calling it Russian stew, and then someone was like, "That's not Russian stew. That's like a Chinese style Russian stew." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't really know." But it's a staple. All the ingredients is in Chicago, Illinois. It's $18 USD. So it's not, it's a solid meal for, I would say, 4 people plus some leftovers. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna be lazy and just gonna leave it at that. I mean, I actually don't mind eating the potato skins. I actually really enjoy eating potato skins, but for the sake of this soup, but also for the sake of just timing this, we're just gonna. Oh my god! My mom would yell at me, honestly, for the horrible way I'm peeling these potatoes. So, good thing she does not watch anything that I post online. Why do you take off the skins? I mean, honestly, I don't know. More out of habit than anything else. I mean, in the stew, like when you stew and you eat the skin, it's probably a different mouthfeel, right? So that's probably one thing. But honestly, if you like the skin, why not? You can just eat the skin on. We're gonna do the same thing. We cut at an angle, and then we're going to flip this 90 degrees, and then chop at another angle. And then so we just do this again to keep some uniform shapes. I'm cutting these kind of small, mainly because I want this cut essentially at. I essentially want this cut at a. I want to cook this in like 2 hours, right? So I got the potatoes, and then also like it just kind of at this when you cook it, like the potatoes will dissolve quite a bit, and you'll get some. These will ultimately just turn into like some bite-sized pieces. So yeah, this method is pretty great. Getting some uniform. They're all pretty uniform shapes. Or not uniform, about the same size, I should say, right? Does anybody know what this method of cutting it is? Because, I don't know, it's like some French term. I like the knife. Yeah, it's honestly, this knife was from when a friend of mine. I mean, you can just get this knife at like a Chinatown grocery store, but no, this one I think. This knife was from when a friend moved out of town and just left me a bunch of their stuff. So we literally have a guest room full of stuff from people that they've come and gone Chicago, and they leave stuff with us. Both my brother-in-laws did that. I have a power rack as a result of that. So this, we're actually going to broccoli when you stew it literally just falls apart. So this is like, I'm not even gonna bother. Just like I just rinse this and just gonna break the stems off. Break the stems off. Then this guy, like, this is like a little bit on the tough side, but the inside is still pretty good. I mean, it's still got flavor. Just the outside is chewy, so just cut that off. Cut that guy off. We're just, again, it's a stew. It's gonna cook into mush. So we're really just doing this out of sustenance and anything else. And the onions, you know, we're not gonna So yeah, just to give everybody a recap, we're cooking some Russian stew with some beef shank, with some onions, potatoes, carrots, broccoli, and we're using Campbell's canned condensed tomato soup. We have a pan that's preheating on the stove right now. We have some shanks that are, why am I taking so long doing this? We have some shanks seasoned with some salt. We're just chopping up some veggies. Again, nothing fancy here, just coarsely chopping some onion. This is a very, just dump everything into the bowl. All right, got everything in the bowl. Nothing, we're not, there's no rhyme or reason into order or anything in cooking it. And so now, let's go here. Is the pan heated enough? I'm gonna drop some water. So you see how the water kind of dances like that? That means that it is preheated. So that's good. Because the water kind of dances around like that, right? That means that this pan, the meat's not going to stick to the pan. We'll demonstrate that for you in a second. All right, we're going to turn this on high. This has been just sitting on like medium heat while I was just chopping everything else up. You know, just like, don't even think about it, just heat it on medium heat, then it'll be fine. But now we just turn it on high, we're going to turn on the fan. And we're just dropping it in, salt side down. And then we're going to season the other side. No need for oil on the other side. Some black pepper. I'm going to sear both sides for about 2 minutes on each side. Let's see if anybody had any questions. I don't know if anybody had any questions. It's going to be so yummy. Yes, it's going to be really good. Don't forget to support your local NPR station. honestly, I just support them if I sweat. So I'm gonna rotate this mainly because like initially when you put the pan on, like the heat in the pan goes in and sears the meat, right? But then the other side where the meat isn't is actually like has more heat. So if you rotate it, you'll get a better sear. That's the thought anyway. But this guy's puffing up, and I don't really care about how pretty it looks, so I'm gonna let it puff. I'll say about 2 minutes. Gonna flip it. Gonna let it sear on both sides for another 2 minutes. So yeah, to recap again, we're making some Russian stew. We're searing some beef shanks. We already chopped our veggies, onion and potato and carrot and broccoli. The ingredients all came out to be about $18. This is like a meal, definitely a dinner for 4, like nothing but soup for 4, and yet another meal for 2 for lunch the next day. So this is really quick and easy and hearty meal. Alright. So, you know, you can leave it on or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, what we're doing, the most important thing about this is just, you know, imparting some flavor to the pan, right? And we're just gonna dump all our veggies in. Like, in theory, you know, dumping in the onions first would be better, you know, to caramelize up the onions a bit. But you know, especially if you don't got time for that, right? Don't worry about it. It's not gonna be too big of a deal. And then I'm gonna just add some water to help it deglaze so that nothing gets too burnt. Oh, the pan is more hot. We're just gonna essentially just rub off all the crusties off of each of the pan. And then we're going to add our tomato. Condensed tomato. And then, of course, we're going to rinse this. Just make sure you get everything. Don't waste any of that stuff. And actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna toss it. We're gonna toss it in with this first. What this is going to do is this is going to actually caramelize the sugars a little bit. Something about, I mean, not gonna lie, I mean, does anybody remember when, like, any of the condensed stuff was, like, super globular? And now it's It's definitely not that. I don't know if it's because growing up, the canned stuff was just sat in our house for like so many months. Alright. There we go. Put the meat on top, just like that. And I and then we're going to cover just enough water so it's only like halfway up to the meat, because the veggies have a lot of moisture that's going to cook out, right? And that's it. That's all you do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover it. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we're going to simmer it. And then after about 2 hours, we're going to check on it again. So will the meat get tender? It will get tender after about 2 hours of cooking, of simmering. So what I will do is I will post a short on my profile. So if you follow me, you'll see after 2 hours, you'll get a quick short of just finishing this up and seeing how tender it gets. And then that's about it. So how long did that take us? Less than a half hour. Mainly because of all the chopping. And so what, 20 minutes? And then so 20 minutes of work, then you can be done with a really great hearty soup on your hands. So about 2 hours. Check back. You'll see some stuff on my profile. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you around. All right. It's been about 2 hours since we put everything in the pot, and it's been simmering for about 2 hours. So we're going to take a look. So the bone should be able to just come off. Bone just slips out right out, so that's great. We're going to actually flip up this guy. You know when you get the bone marrow at the like fancy restaurants? Oh, that's some broccoli. Don't worry about that. And then no, that cartilage just came right off, so that's nice. Reason why I'm taking out this bone marrow is for the misses. So there we go. All right, so that's stuff that you get in the appetizers, right? Fancy appetizers. So got this guy out. So yeah, I mean, this meat, yeah, that's chopsticks tender right there. You can just pinch it through with your chopsticks. So that means it's good to go. So we're going to just take our spoon, we're going to smoosh that meat in, tear it up. And we're just gonna give it a stir, let it kind of combine. Yeah, so obviously when you're stirring it, all that broccoli's gonna kind of smoosh up, and that's the way I like it. So if you like your broccoli more like, you know, whole, then you can just add it later and not simmer it for so long. But this is meant to be a hearty stew. All right. And there you go. We got a stew on our hands. Again, chopsticks. Gonna take a bite. Nice and tender. All right, so I did a previous live stream of putting it all together already. To repeat the whole entire process, we took 1 pound of shank, seared it, then we put in onion, 2 potatoes, 1 carrot, 1 crown of broccoli, can of Campbell's tomato soup, and dumped it all in. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna edit a tutorial video about all this, and then I'll post it on my channel. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you later.